This is section 2 of the $30,000 Bequest and Other Stories by Mark Twain. I mean to put in 10,000, ground floor. When we organize, you'll get 3 shares for one.
By George, but it sounds good, Alec. Then the shares will be worth how much and when?
About a year. They'll pay 10% half yearly and be worth 30,000. I know all about it. The advertisement is in the Cincinnati paper here.
Land. 30,000 for 10 in a year. Let's jam in the whole capital and pull out 90. I'll write and subscribe right now. Tomorrow it may be too late.
He was flying to the writing desk, but Alex stopped him and put him back in his chair. She said, "Don't lose your head so. We mustn't subscribe till we've got the money. Don't you know that?" Sally's excitement went down a degree or two, but he was not wholly appeased.
Why, Alec, we'll have it, you know, and so soon, too. He's probably out of his troubles before this. It's 100 to nothing he's selecting his brimstone shovel this very minute. Now, I think—
Alex shuddered and said, "How can you, Sally? Don't talk in that way. It is perfectly scandalous."
Oh, well, make it a halo if you like. I don't care for his outfit. I was only just talking. Can't you let a person talk?
But why should you want to talk in that dreadful way? How would you like to have people talk so about you, and you not cold yet?
Not likely to be, for one while, I reckon, if my last act was giving away money for the sake of doing somebody a harm with it. But never mind about Tilbury, Alec. Let's talk about something worldly.
It does seem to me that that mine is the place for the whole 30. What's the objection? All the eggs in one basket. That's the objection.
All right, if you say so. What about the other 20? What do you mean to do with that?
There's no hurry. I'm going to look around before I do anything with it.
All right, if your mind's made up, sighed Sally.
He was deep in thought a while. Then he said,
"There'll be 20,000 profit coming from the 10 a year from now. We can spend that, can we, Alec?"
Alex shook her head. "No, dear," she said. "It won't sell high till we've had the first semi-annual dividend. You can spend part of that."
Shucks, only that? And a whole year to wait? Confound it,
Oh, do be patient. It might even be declared in 3 months. It's quite within the possibilities."
Oh, jolly. Oh, thanks. And Sally jumped up and kissed his wife in gratitude. "It'll be 3,000. 3 whole thousand. How much of it can we spend, Alec? Make it liberal. Do, dear, that's a good fellow."
Alec was pleased.
So pleased that she yielded to the pressure and conceded a sum which her judgment told her was a foolish extravagance— $1,000. Sally kissed her half a dozen times, and even in that way could not express all his joy and thankfulness. This new access of gratitude and affection carried Alec quite beyond the bounds of prudence. Before she could restrain herself, she had made her darling another grant, a couple of thousand out of the 50 or 60 which she meant to clear within a year out of the 20 which still remained of the bequest. The happy tears sprang to Sally's eyes, and he said, "Oh, I want to hug you," and he did it. Then he got his notes and sat down and began to check off, for first purchase, the luxuries which he should earliest wish to secure: horse, buggy, cutter, lap robe, patent leathers, dog, plug hat, church pew, stem winder, new teeth. Say, Alec.
Well?
Ciphering away, aren't you? That's right. Have you got the 20,000 invested yet?
No, there's no hurry about that. I must look around first and think.
But you are ciphering. What's it about?
Why, I have to find work for the 30,000 that comes out of the coal, haven't I?
Scott, what a head. I never thought of that. How are you getting along? Where have you arrived?
Not very far. 2 years or 3. I've turned it over twice, once in oil and once in meat.
Why, Al, it's splendid. How does it aggregate?
I think, well, to be on the safe side, about 180,000 clear, though it will probably be more.
My, isn't it wonderful? By gracious, luck has come our way at last after all the hard sledding. Alec!
Well?
I'm going to cash in a whole 300 on the missionaries. What real right have we to care for expenses?
You couldn't do a nobler thing, dear, and it's just like your generous nature, you unselfish boy.
The praise made Sally poignantly happy, but he was fair and just enough to say it was rightfully due to Aleck rather than to himself, since but for her he should never have had the money. Then they went up to bed, and in their delirium of bliss they forgot and left the candle burning in the parlor. They did not remember until they were undressed. Then Sally was for letting it burn. He said they could afford it, if it was 1,000, but Aleck went down and put it out. A good job, too, for on her way back she hit on a scheme that would turn the 180,000 into $500,000 before it had time to get cold. End of chapter 2.